Okay. Okay. So, Carrie, do you want to say anything about what our chat was before we actually did this?
Okay. So first of all, let me introduce everybody who's on here.
Okay.
Judith Lindbergh, who in my view is at the top. Judith has a book coming out in May called Akmaral.
Okay.
And then Carol Hines, who is under me.
It's like the Brady Bunch, right? Like we're.
And Carol's book is coming out in June, right?
Yeah. So many exciting things. Oh my goodness.
June. And then Stephanie, who is and my thing below you, had her book come out a little bit after mine. So it came out this year, Boy in the Rain, and really beautiful book. So Stephanie and I have already launched our books. Krista, when she comes on, her book is coming out in January. Okay. So we're all kind of at different points. Okay. So for the rest of you, Beverly and I met, my God, like 2 decades ago, more than that. More. We were in our early 20s.
1998.
1998. Oh my gosh. Okay. 1998. We worked in advertising together and have remained very good friends ever since. Thank goodness. And so I know I know Beverly does marketing, not specifically for books, but she does it for small businesses. And we always talk about how we operate like small businesses as creative people. So when we started talking about, things like what's going on with the Amazon ads, how to actually navigate some of this stuff, that's why Beverly came to mind, because I know she does a lot of this for her clients. And so I've talked to her a bit about, the idea of how we're all kind of like trying to figure out ad buying and stuff. But then she also asked to look at all of our social media and our websites and was like, you all need to take a few steps back. And actually there's hanging fruit that could be, helpful for us to do first, and then think about, how we navigate things like ads and whatnot. And just so you know, Beverly, we are the publishing house that we work with. We're required to do all of our own promotion and outreach.
I don't understand that at all. That doesn't make any sense. There should be like a toolbox for you guys.
We have many discussions about how it would be really helpful if they would have an in-house person because they should want to sell books, but it's left for us to do. And so that's why, we're doing things like trying to figure out how to have, Amazon ads, which normally we might not have to worry about if we were with a different publisher that did this for us. But this is what we have to learn how to do. And so for a lot of us, and for most of us, I think all of us, these are not our first books. So some people have been publishing with big publishing houses in the past, so they've had different levels of support for the work that they've done. But for this purpose, we're all kind of in the same place of having to really do this ourselves and figure out how to do it successfully and figure out how to not waste money, because it gets really expensive. And so we want to be making smart investments into the way that we're thinking about marketing our books.
Well, when you talk about comparing yourselves to small businesses too, small businesses don't have a lot of money to waste on marketing. Every dollar matters, right? And if it's working, you want to do more of that. And if it's not working, you don't want to do that. And you want to know that quickly. You don't want to have to spend a lot of money to get there, right? So all of us wish we were J.K. Rowling's and had all that budget, all that marketing, all that money, but we're not. So I'm super glad to be here. And hopefully I'm going to give you a few ideas along the way to help you. I kind of broke down their presentation into 3 different aspects. So I'm going to kind of walk you through it. And at the end, I have a pretty awesome, I think, download on ads for you guys to kind of go and do some work on your own. But if you have questions, I'm always here. You can always text me, email me, and I can kind of guide you. I also included a lot of videos on YouTube and things like that of like how-tos. The only thing with the videos is I haven't like tested the videos to see if like the back end has changed at all, because sometimes these tools change on a dime and that becomes even more confusing. So, but like specifically for authors, like I really went in and found some really good, I think, resources for you to use so that you have a little bit of a guide along the way as well. Okay. So,
right. And Krista just joined us. I don't know if you can
awesome.
See, if you do
see her.
Krista just got here. So we're just getting started, Krista. So this is Beverly. And we basically she just introduced how she's gonna break down the presentation.
Hi, Krista.
And she's recording it for us, so she's gonna send us a packet of the recording and other stuff, so we'll be able to have it all.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Carrie. I'm super excited to be here. Carrie and I have been friends for a very long time, and I have lots of stories, but I won't share those about today because that would take a long time too. And Carrie asked me to share a few ideas with you. I immediately looked at all of your profiles. I asked Carrie, what are their websites? What are their social media profiles? Let me go do a little bit of investigation. Let me kind of like customize this presentation to you five versus a more blanket. So I took kind of my findings and everybody's at a little different level. So I tried to like generalize them a little bit based on what I found. But this is based on my personal review. And I hope at the end of this that really you have at least a few nuggets to go and do some stuff. I talked to Carrie and literally like within 2 days you redid your entire freaking website. So I called her and I was like, hey, just so you know, you need to be doing this, this, and this. And she was like, shit. And so she went and like, did it all. She's like, all I want to do is not work now. All I want to do is get my website done. So I'm hoping that you feel a little inspired to go do that because I think the changes that Carrie made were really significant. And I think we're in a really great direction. So hopefully you feel the same inspiration and you know, it's 7 o'clock, so you won't be at work, that you have a couple hours tonight to actually do a few things. But it really is like a process, though. Marketing is never like one and done. This whole thing is very organic. Your website should never, ever be done. You should always be tweaking it, adding stuff, taking away old stuff, tweaking. Google loves that. So you should always be doing that. It's a never ending process, which can feel a little maddening, but also know that. Like, don't be hard on yourself in that sense. Like, give yourself some grace because it is a never ending process. Okay. So where's my clicker guy? There we go. So a little bit about me. Our mission really as a company at BC & Associates is to help spark your unique opportunity and ignite your business. That's really our focus. We're always looking for that unique opportunity that you have against your competitors. What makes you different? And then taking that and capitalizing on that because it's really noisy out there. And we want to work with people who want to partner with us to simplify and organize their marketing, to elevate their brands, and to achieve their goals. So we want people who are actually willing to like put some work in as well. Like we're not going to be able to just magically snap our fingers and make this all happen. So we also want people who are going to help partner with us and do the things that we need to have done to get there. I have a master's degree in communications, and I started my marketing career back in 1998 when I worked with Carrie at the ad agency for Chrysler. And Carrie was a proofreader and I was an account manager, and I used to take paper copies of catalogs to her and she would proofread them. And while she did that, we would chat. So we got to know each other pretty well. But that was a long time ago. And so about, I guess it was 2011, I married my husband, who was an active duty Army guy, and when he gets told to travel through the Army, I have to go. So it's really hard to find a VP of marketing job every 3 years. So I decided to take my career on the road. And at the time, there was really no remote jobs at the time. Like the 2011 was just the very beginning of all of this nonsense. And so I literally just took I was very remote. I did everything through, at the time it was Skype. And I had clients all over the country, and I just started doing consulting. So I was really a freelancer until about 2020 or so. And then I incorporated, and now I have a staff of 5, and I have several clients, and we have systems, and everything's very organized. And I always say I got a big girl business in 2020, I think, and decided that this was really going to happen and that I probably should do all the things to make it happen. It took me about 3 years to have a website, and I do marketing. So it just tells you, like, that's how it is. The cobbler's kids have no shoes, right? So we have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to start diving in here. Thank you, my wonderful presenter over here. So we're going to discuss the 10 ways to market yourself in your writing, decoding ads, and then options for one-on-one help if you need that further down the road. So the first and most important way to unleash the protagonist and create the author website. Now, I did have a little fun with the author theme, so it's super cheesy. Carrie knows me. I'm super cheesy when I go down a path, and I love puns. So I have a lot of those throughout the entire presentation. But really is this idea of you are the protagonist of your own story. And your website should be just like that. Treat your website just like your novel. And I think that will make the whole perception kind of change for yourself. Go ahead. Okay, so this is the kingdom's domain. So if you had to have like a realm, this is your realm. And I want you to think about keeping it simple, memorable, and closely tied to your name and writing genre. So for example, if your name is Jane Doe, it should be janedoe.com or janedoemysteries.com. So somehow tie it to your name, and if you have a very specific genre, it should stay in that realm. So I wouldn't recommend naming it after a particular book, especially if you write multiple books or have multiple different types of writing. I would try to keep it a little bit more generic and use your name as your brand. So I know, Carrie, you do that. I've seen that across, but just to keep that in mind as you're going forward. So, and the platforms. I'm not sure, Carrie, what platform do you use? I didn't ask you that when I was talking to you.
I use Wix.
Okay. So there are a lot of website platforms. Website, GoDaddy, and Wix are really great ones. So that's great that you're using Wix. They offer user-friendly templates, and they're adaptable to a lot of creative needs. So they're a great foundation for your canvas. They actually have some themes that are specific to authors too. I don't know if you've actually poked into the themes, but I know like WordPress has Author Pro, and I think it's Astra, are both author specific themes. And I know that Wix has writer and novelist as like specific themes as well. So that are really particular for authors that kind of set everything up for you in kind of the right format for a writer. So you don't have to think through all that as much. And again, you can add and tweak if you need to, but they kind of get you a really good platform to start from. So your website should be organized. It's the map of your realm. So you want to make sure that your main navigation is super clear. And I know that like this is one thing I talked about with Carrie specifically, was I felt like I didn't know where to go next. What was the next chapter? Where did you want me to go? Like I was struggling. I was like, I'm not seeing where, I don't know what to do. And so you have to kind of think of it as your reader, and you have to take them down the journey of your story. So you want to make sure that navigation is smooth and it's very well structured. You want a clear menu for home, about me, books, or writing, or whatever you want to call that, and your blog, events, or like I saw someone had tour, which I thought was really great. Like if you're on tour, that's a great one. Somebody did have like book clubs, which I thought was great too, because if I come and I'm a book club and I want some details, I have that. So just make it really easy for me to get from place to place and kind of take me down a journey of where you want me to go, so that I can follow what you want to lead me with, like breadcrumbs essentially along the way. You want to make it super easy to explore your literary landscape. So number 4. So you want to set the stage with an engaging homepage. This is your opening scene.
Can I interject something really quick,
Sure.
Beverly? Because you told me something that I did not know, which is one of the reasons why I changed my site pretty quickly, is that the SEO, like that there's no SEO ability if you don't have a navigation on it. Because
Yes.
somebody had told me originally, someone had told me people don't like to navigate anymore, just have a scrolling page. And then you were like, no, don't have a scrolling page, because if you don't have headers, there's nothing that attaches to SEO. So if people are searching for stuff, I literally would not have ever shown up in it, because I didn't have the tab for book clubs. I didn't have the tab for books. I didn't have the tab for author resource. I didn't have all these things. And I just didn't even know that.
You could have it by headers, but it's much more powerful when it's in a navigation for Google's algorithm. So the more structured you have it, the more Google knows, oh, that's what this content is for. Oh, this is where I'm supposed to put this person. So you want it to be as structured and easy to follow. I have a whole section on SEO I'm going to talk about, but you definitely want a main navigation, and that creates like your site map for Google. What? It's not working now. I'm having some technical difficulties with my presenter over here. See here. I probably can do it with this. It just might take me a minute to pause, so just bear with me, okay? So on the opening scene, you're going to feature eye-catching banner with your name and tagline that encapsulates your writing essence. Just like a small business has like a tagline, You want something that kind of talks about who you are in like one sentence, one small blurb. Like, what is it about you that makes you different? What can people expect from you? You want to have, so ours is small business marketing agency. That is who we are. So what are you? Are you what based on your genre? Based on, are you a specific genre writer? Are you a specific genre author? Are you a creative soul who loves mysteries? Like, I don't know, but you have to have something that kind of encapsulates who you are. So when I land on your page right away, I know this is your name and this is who you are. So I don't have to search for that. Like, who is this person and what does he or she do? You want to use high quality images. So a couple of websites I thought had like pixelated images, or like the colors were kind of faded. It wasn't like clean and crisp. One thing that you did, I think, really well, Carrie, was you went to like a white background, super clean, super modern feeling. I loved it. Like, you have so many options for your graphics now because everything is white. You have so like, and then when you have a pop of color, it really draws your eye there because the background is so clean. So I really liked that. And more websites are becoming white. That's where the trend is right now. So clean, modern aesthetic is very nice. You don't want to be boring, and you don't want it to be filled with too much text. You want markers. So like, just like you have chapters in a book, you want to like have chapters so there's kind of a guide of where you're going. So one chapter might be about me. One chapter might be, again, your navigation's kind of those chapters. One chapter might be about my writing, my latest book, whatever that might be. That's like your chapter on that home page. And you want to kind of give an overview of who you are and what you do and what your latest thing is on that home page. I'm going to grab attention. Go ahead. Where am I? I have both. So, introducing your readers to your characters. You're the character. So, you want to create an About Me section that serves as the character introduction. You want to share your writing journey. You want to share about your passions and your inspirations behind your stories. One of the things that I love, and again, I know Carrie the best. So, Carrie, you're kind of my example for a lot of things. I've been down the road with her for a long time, so I know a lot of what she's done to launch and market in the past. But she talked about the inspiration for her book. She talked about there was this picture that she saw, and then she was driving down a Pennsylvania highway, and she saw this rest stop. She talks about the inspirations for her book, and it like makes you realize like how she got to that place. So you want to talk about that, like those kinds of inspirations, the things that make your process. The thing that I loved the most about your website, Krissa, was you had a video about oh, forgive me, I don't remember the name of the book, but it was, and I had just gone to like Lancaster and Amish country, but it was all about the Amish, and like you talked about how the story developed and how it was different and unique, and I was totally sucked into that video. It was really well done, and I was like, Carrie, you need this. Like, this is what you need for your book. So
and I was like, I can't do that.
She's like, she's so creative, and I was like, I could help you with that, Carrie. So, but like, I was so drawn in, and immediately I knew like your tone and your style, and it was very appealing to me right away without even reading a word. Okay. So that to me was super powerful, and video is like the thing now. People want short video. I think that was maybe like a 5-minute video. It wasn't even that long. But they want a little snippet. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see who you are. They want to see how your stories are crafted. They want to get to know you. And I think like the imagery she used just helped really set the stage for me to understand what that story was about. So super important. And the same thing for yourself. You want to make sure you have a photo. If you have even like a little video of who you are, like, hey, I'm Carrie, and this is what I do. Like a nice little introduction would be great, because people then get a sense of who you are. And I think Carrie is very bubbly, and she's very friendly, and that just kind of comes across. I know it's really hard to get out of your comfort zone and do some of this stuff, so I get it. Like I tell all my clients to do this, but I don't do it myself very often, so I know it's hard. Especially if you're a writer, I feel like that's a different kind of person. You're not necessarily putting it all out there verbally or putting it out there on pen. Like, it's just a different medium. But if you can do that. It was extremely well done for her story on Chris's site, but I think you could do the same thing for yourself. Kind of give it, I grew up in Detroit. You could have a scene of Detroit. Like there's a lot of things you could do to tell your story of who you are as well. That could be very powerful in like, and the landing page and like the top banner. You could do like a really cool video for that. Go ahead. So then you want to take them on this journey. This is the plot, right? So you want to reveal this to your fans and your readers. What's your background? How did you start writing? What genre do you write? And what are you drawn to? What is your writing process? Give them this behind the scenes glimpse. We kind of talked about that. Devote a whole section to your author's journey, a narrative arc that details your evolution as a writer. How did you get here? I know that Carrie's been like kind of all over like to get to this point. So her journey is really interesting. And I think kind of highlighting that makes her unique and kind of sets her apart from other writers. And the fact that she's from Detroit and has written about Detroit is something that connects to me entirely because I'm from Detroit as well. So you could get readers just based on that alone because they're connected to you in that way. So you want to find the ways to connect to readers that resonates with them. So this idea of giving them that information could be helpful. Discuss the pivotal moments and the challenges you have overcome and the milestones you've achieved. Talk about yourself. Brag a little. That's okay. You want to like tell people like I've had challenges and look where I am today. Like this is a very this life is really hard sometimes, and to know that you've had a little bit of a hero's journey, it's a good thing. So share the hero's journey, your hero's journey with them. Include any awards, which I just reminded Carrie. I was like, oh, is that on your website? She's like, oh crap. So she had to go put her nomination on her website. Any awards, any nominations, it just creates credibility that you are not like a at-home writer. Like you're not just writing for yourself. Like other people are seeing your work. It's being commended. It's being elevated. It's a form of social proof that you're legit. So you want to make sure you are putting that out there. It's as powerful, if not more powerful than even social proof of like testimonials and reviews to somebody who's coming to your site, because it's not just your best friend saying it. It's like the literary world is saying this. Okay, so you want to make sure that's upfront and forward. This also should invite the reader to connect with your growth and your commitment to this craft. Like you are committed. How many hours do you spend writing a book? I mean, hours. Then you have to edit it, and then you have to edit it again. And then it's a laborious process. So revealing that shows how committed you are to your craft. And I think people want to know that you're not just using AI to write a book, right? Yeah, I know this is like a new thing, right? So this is something that people are going to be looking for going forward, how to differentiate yourself from that. This is like, I am somebody who's really writing my book. This is where it's coming from. This is what I'm doing. This is my process. So make sure you share that. You also want to have enticing teasers of your story. So you'll want to entice readers to share. But you want to entice your readers by sharing parts of your story. So create a dedicated page or a section for your books. Include captivating excerpts, enticing book blurbs, high resolution cover images. This is the teaser chapter for your book. So you want to leave readers eager to delve into the full story. This is again kind of what Krista did. She kind of teased it, right? She gave me some information. I learned a little bit about Krista. I learned a little bit about the story. Now I'm super intrigued, and especially since I just literally came back from Lancaster, I was like all about this is a very interesting world, right? So it was very poignant for me to watch that particular video. See here. So you want to also craft like a reader's corner. So devote a section to engage with your readers. Include a blog where you share insights about your reading process, behind the scenes anecdotes, and reflections on literature that you enjoy or that has inspired you. So there are authors, there are pieces of work that have inspired you to maybe even become a writer, and that should all be part of the blogs. You take one little element, maybe even like Carrie, you just shared somebody, I think it was on Facebook today. You said she was amazing. Who was it?
Oh, that's one of the National Book Award finalists. Yeah.
So maybe there's a quote in there of her book or her that really spoke to you. You could take that quote and break it down for yourself, like why that was a very powerful quote. And that just gets behind, it's like a little peek behind the curtain of how your brain works. It's a really revealing thing for your reader.
And Beverly, does stuff like that, like the more we link to like outside sources, like I created a bookshelf, but I haven't linked the books yet to like for people to like really go and look. I'm thinking to see the covers. Like if I linked those to like the author sites or to like Bookshop where they could buy them or something, does that also just boost up the searchability? Like,
Yes.
would that help me in the Google searches if people are looking for that author? I might pop up.
So yes. So what happens with that is the more you connect, it's all like a spider web. And Google actually calls the things that crawl your website spiders. So it legit is like a spider web. Everything's connected on the internet and you can get down the rabbit hole really easily, right? From one thing to another to another. So you want to cross link between your pages to blogs within your page and then to outside sources, because then it shows that it's not just about you, that you're also contributing to the world around you. And you're like, and what also is nice is when somebody realizes you're linking to them, they may do something back. There's a law of reciprocity that kind of plays in this, and there may be something that comes back to you as well. And I also encourage you, I know you all share about your book launches and all of that, like link to each other's pages, create that for each other, help each other. That is huge. Like you guys have a huge community. And if you have these ladies on your bookshelf, like on your reader's corner, and you have a bookshelf and that you do that, that would be amazing for you guys, because the more you can cross link, the more Google says, oh, 10 people have a link to this page, so it must be legit. Or and different links mean different things. It can get kind of complicated here, so I don't want to like bog down too much. It's a really great question, Carrie, but like a bookstore probably has more clout than a person, and a university has more clout than a bookstore. So and a media outlet has more clout than a university. So Google sees if a bookstore is linking to you, that other people, not just a person, are linking to you. If they see a university link to you, they think, oh, this is like education and like it gives you some prestige as far as Google's concerned. And if a media outlet does a piece on you and links to your website, it just shows the media finds you intriguing enough or whatever to do a piece on you, so that you should have more clout. Does that make sense on Google? So all those links kind of elevate your website and create this credibility for Google to know that you're not just existing within yourself. So the more links, the better. As long as they're legit links. There are people who do like it's called black hat, like it's bad, like magic. They do a lot of bad things. So don't just do it organically and naturally, and Google will reward you. Okay, so don't try to game the system. Just help each other. And the more you can do that, like create a bookshelf and help each other, the better it will be, because it will be organic and natural. And clearly you have a community, and that is what Google would expect. It's not something unexpected. Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. So you want to encourage comments, create a community where readers feel part of your storytelling journey. So that's in the reader's corner. You could also even put like your Instagram, your Twitter, like feeds in there, because it shows like you're going back and forth with your fans. Like there's actually plugins where you can just put in your feed or like your Instagram 9 graphic portfolio kind of there. Include a section for your book clubs. And I love, Carrie, that you included a recipe for something that you're like, and I thought it was even funny, you're like, I don't know how it will taste. But here's the thing of what you could make. Waffles and what was it? Waffles with,
what was it? It was pancakes and beer pancakes.
Pancakes and beer, yes. So, but I thought that was so clever. The more you can kind of create an environment, I even think like creating a playlist for them to have during the book club. like what kind of music would your characters listen to? Like that all puts them in the scene, right, of the movie and makes them feel more connected. So anytime you can create that customized experience, I think is amazing. And people are looking for experiences now. That is a differentiator. So the more you can get your book club readers to like, and then they'll be like, this was amazing. Like they gave us a playlist and they gave us a recipe and maybe even a drink. Like, is there a drink that, I mean, maybe it's pancakes and they have the beer and then they have the music and whatever else. Should they, I mean, is there costumes? Is there something else that you could even, you know, like murder mysteries and those kinds of things are really popular. Is there a way you could even set it to like, make it even further of a whole truly experience? You've seen these TikToks where people come in, it's like they do like a fast food night, right? And all their friends come through the door with their fast food. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was a TikTok about your book with all the different characters coming through the door? Like how amazing would be that to share, right? So I would encourage them to be as creative as possible and to share that user generated content so you can repurpose that for your stuff. So I know there are people who would do that. So you know, you want to encourage it and give them the format to do it. I would even like search some book clubs, like book club experiences and like book club, like try to like see what other people are doing to like create that. That's the first thing I would do if I was writing a page for this would be to go and do some research and find what people are doing and then like just really make it a true experience. But the first thing I thought of was there should be a playlist that's kind of going on in the background, like a whole vibe you're setting, right? So I feel like that would be very cool. So you want to, this is the one thing I don't think I saw it on anybody's page. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while now, but is capture emails as literary scrolls. Amazon, Google a little bit, Facebook, Instagram, they all own your name, your stuff. They own all your fans. They own, if Instagram broke tomorrow, you would lose everybody. But if you have an email list, they're yours. They are yours. Nobody can take them away from you. Nobody can remove them from you. They're yours. So the number one thing I would do, even from your social sites, is push them back to your website to sign up for an email, to sign up on your email list. You can use MailChimp. You can use Constant Contact. You can use, there's a lot of really great programs. I think MailChimp's free for the first 500 names. So totally use, it's a free tool. It integrates with most sites. Like my WordPress site has an integration with MailChimp. So, and give away a freebie, give away a free chapter, give away a freebie to get them to sign up. Maybe it's for your new book, whatever. Give them something free so that they become yours. And that way, when you have a new book, when you have something to say, you can talk to them right away and it goes right to their inbox and it's not in the middle of all the noise of the scroll too. You're speaking directly to them. Now, you know, average read rate is about, or open rate is about 30%. So if you have 500 people, you're only going to, you know, really have an active audience of about 150 people, but it can be up to like 50%. I have some clients who have 50% read rates, for individual newsletters, but I strongly suggest you keep the connection with your reader ongoing. Every month, there should be some kind of a news from you. Where are you speaking? Where are you at? Where are you at with the writing process? Do you have a new book? Are you editing? Whatever's happening, there should be something about it. Or if you have a book you want to recommend, or you should be engaging your reader on a really regular basis to stay connected to you, because it's how long between books? Like 2-3 years? Some ungodly amount to get something published. They may forget about you in 3 years. You don't want to be forgotten. You did all this work for that first, whatever that push was for the launch for that book. Don't lose that. Keep that momentum so that anytime you have anything to release, they're there listening and waiting. Okay? Don't start from scratch every 3 years to get that up and going. That's going to be exhausting. Don't do that. So emails, I think, are probably one of the most powerful things you can do to integrate. MailChimp actually has like an email form, and all you have to do is copy the code and put it into your thing, and it's all integrated and it goes right into your list and everything is there. really easy drag and drop kind of designer for the emails. It's super, super easy. If you can use Word, you can use MailChimp. Okay. Offer a free chapter, exclusive content. Treat each email as precious. Someone who does this really well is J.K. Rowling. She's always releasing little tidbits of stuff, and she keeps us interested all the time of what she's up to and doing, right? So we're big, huge Harry Potter fans in this house, and anytime there's any kind of quiz, anything, we're like on it. So if you can kind of create that experience, even better, because you're just keeping your fans connected, you're keeping them excited and waiting for more from you. Okay, let's see here. So here's some of the SEO stuff that Carrie was mentioning. So you want to optimize for quest seekers. You want to equip your website with tools to be discovered. Some basic search engine optimization, which is what SEO stands for. So this is what Google loves. This is optimizing your site for search engines, is by incorporating relevant keywords. So it depends on your genre, but you want to do the keywords and the key phrases that your reader would use to find your stuff. So if I'm looking for, maybe I'm looking for a mystery set in Detroit, or I'm looking for, I don't know, Carrie, what are some things that your readers like may search for your book? Like what have you found
Mine's a little tricky because it's literary fiction, which is like the catch-all for stuff that's not genre. But like, a few people here are doing historical fiction.
Okay.
Chris's is technically YA, like,
okay.
or like, what's that other word for YA now? The like early adult, like
Yes.
for the sort of 20 to 25-year-old kind of set. So, there's that is probably easier to talk about.
So historical fiction would be great if there's a specific era of historical fiction. So if it's Civil War historical fiction, like I'm really into like Renaissance biographies like that. I'm like into queens and kings and all. So if there's a specific genre within or era within your particular category, you're gonna want. So maybe it's even young adult and it's love, or young adults, whatever that is. You want romance. You want those keywords to be within your content, and they should be headers. So when you're building your website, there's headlines. There's a header 1, header 2, header 3, and it goes on to like paragraph. Like when you're setting up your content, have you seen that where it's structured, where you go to like the format and there's headers? You want to use heading 2 for your keywords, if at all possible. So H2 is the one you want to use. That's what Google loves. Google looks at that. That is like the one that is the main one. So H2, heading 2 is what you want to use. And you want to put your keywords in there. You want to also use your keywords in the first part of the sentence for paragraphs. The very first part of a paragraph in a section is considered the most important paragraph. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? So if that's the most important, it's going to have the most important keyword in it. So you want to do it organically. You don't want to like force it, or what they call stuff it. Like you just don't want to stuff like young adult romance in every other sentence, right? You want it to like flow and seem organic and natural and human, but you want to use those keywords as much as possible. So in your main nav, your 8 headings, if there's any way you can, like, even if it's young adult romance reader's corner, so that it's like in that nav, that would be great. You want to make sure that like your genre is in your content. There's also meta tags on every single page, usually at the bottom of the page in the back end. There's a meta header and a meta description. And this is where I think AI comes in great. That you can take your entire page and ask Chat GPT to write you a meta description based on your page, and say, use keyword young adult romance, and it will write it specifically for that, because the way you write for search engine is different than the human writes. So that's why I think like an AI is really helpful, because it knows the tone and everything you need to have. So use that. And also, any image that you post on your website has an alt text title. Use your keywords in your alt text titles as well. So if you're posting an image about a young adult romance book, make sure it says young adult romance, has that key phrase. Whatever that phrase is that they'll be looking for, you're going to want to make sure you use that on your images as well. Images are a lost opportunity for you if you don't do it. That Google loves that. Google loves it all. Again, plays into that. Like the spider goes, oh, this is an image with a young adult. Oh, this is a header, young adult. Oh, this is young adult. Like it just solidifies it every time it sees it for your website. And the more you have it on your site, again, you don't want it like stuffed, the more Google sees that page is relevant to that search. So if it makes sense, you want to have it there. Also, pages, Google loves about 1,500 words or more for a page. So try to keep that in mind too, because if it has less than 1,500 words, it thinks of it as not as an important piece of information. So 1,500 or more words. So for blog posts, anything you write, you should try to keep it to 1,500 words or more. It's like the ideal level. So now I feel like I've given you a lot, and it's 6:45, and I'm like only like a third. I told Carrie I have to like cut a bunch of stuff. So is this all helpful? Is this stuff you guys knew? Like tell me where you're at as far as the information.
I will say that this is super helpful to me. When I changed my website format, I was looking at the analytics of viewership, and I went from like, I think I had like 26 views like in the 2 weeks before that. And then I looked at it today and compared like the 2 weeks, and it was like double. It was like 50, it was like almost 56.
Awesome.
So, and those are unique visitors. So that was like, it made a huge boost. And I didn't even do half the stuff you just told us to, because I didn't know.
Yeah. And I was like, slow down, but I was like, it's not going to hurt you to do it. Like you just have to like tweak it now. But these are all little minor, and again, all incremental changes. So if you can't do everything, don't worry. Just any incremental change can make a difference, knowing how to work the system essentially. So I want you to give you the tools to like be able to work the system as much as possible. Okay, where am I? Okay. So the next section is you want to summon the allies. This is all my fun puns. You want to leverage your social media, leverage your community, leverage the people who already love you, leverage your friends, leverage each other, right? So these are your allies in this quest to get your book out there, seeing your writing read, okay? So you want to make sure it's important to get the word out about you and your work. Like it's like the movie. You can't just build it and they'll come. You want to actually invite them and to participate. It would be so lovely if you could build it and they come. They came. Some will, but most won't. So you still need to go out and grab them and get them to come. So you want to choose your battleground. So which social media platforms are you going to focus on? You do not have to do all of them. Where does your particular audience sit? So young adult romance, I would assume like Instagram, Snapchat is like, TikTok is like the thing. I don't think Facebook is where you want to be, right? You can have a profile there, Krista, but I would not be working Facebook as like I would be working other ones. Don't invest your energy in a place where your demographic is not there. Okay, so it's nice to have a profile on everything, so at least people know you exist. It's also another link to your website. You're creating links everywhere you have a profile. So Google sees that. So a YouTube channel, a TikTok, all that. Create a profile, put a link in there back to your website. But work, and you can put some basic content on there, but you don't have to work it like you do the one where your demographic lives. So keep that in mind. So Twitter, I'm just naming a few, but Twitter is great to establish a profile as your virtual battlefield for concise and engaging communication. This is where you should share quick updates, writing insights, and interact with the writing community. It's a great little one-off I guess I should call it X. It's like people call it X, people call it Twitter X, people call it Twitter. It doesn't have a brand anymore. It's actually very interesting to watch it evolve. But this is like really quick and it's really great. And there's a lot of media on there. It's a very interesting thing. Threads is trying to do that. It's just not there yet. It's like holding on by a thread. But and there's a lot of controversy, obviously, with X. But I still think it's a great place to just do those quick updates and have a lot of engagement. You can put in like whatever search you want, and you can find people who are talking about your specific genre or demographic. Instagram, create an account, and this is your visual realm, right? So showcase the aesthetic essence of your writing journey. Share snippets of your life, behind the scenes moments, and captivating visuals. Try to use a similar color scheme. Try to use the similar feeling of it. Canva is a great free tool that you can use. I use the pro version, but if you use the free tool to be able to create an aesthetic and a template to use so that it has a nice feel and it's consistent with your website. You don't want one aesthetic for your Instagram and another aesthetic for your website. Try to keep everything very similar. You're creating a brand, you're creating a feeling along every single communication channel. So you want to make sure everything kind of feels the same and they know when they see that, that's you. I have a client who, she's been around for a long time. She's a natural pet food store. So everything in her store is organic and it's sustainable and all the things. Nothing's made in China. Like it's a very cool pet food store. She's a naturopath doctor and she owns the store. She's very interesting. Carrie, you probably love her. But she has, her colors are purple, orange, blue, and green, like lime green. And we've been doing branding for her for a long time. And we had a second location we were working on. We were just painting it. There was no signage, no nothing. And somebody was at a nail salon and walked by and said, that looks like the Pet Bistro colors. And that's how powerful the colors were, because without even a sign, nothing, because we were keeping it hush hush. We weren't telling anybody we were opening a second store. We were going to do a big reveal. And she came to the store and she was like, are you opening a second store? I saw your store. It's the same colors. Like she knew right away that was her. That's how powerful her brand was. So by using consistent colors and consistent fonts and aesthetics, you are creating that brand that should be all across, okay? Every single communication channel. Facebook. This is where you can build to connect with a broader audience. You can share longer updates. You can host discussions on live. You can create events. Your Facebook page can serve as a hub for your readers to gather, essentially. So this is it's a different approach, right, than Instagram, which is more of a visual experience. And then TikTok is, you can create a TikTok page to share short videos of the behind the scenes and what you're up to and more. So it's just it's a video format. So just a very different. And with reels and stories and all the things on Instagram, you have those options there too. So if you wanted just to stick on Instagram or stick on one, you could do that as well, because Instagram has some of those same features. Consistent persona. This is, again, like you're establishing your persona, which is your brand. So make sure that no matter where you are. So if you have a brand photo on your website, that should be the same photo that's on all your profiles. So that when they come to your page, they know, oh, that's where I was supposed to be, right? It all feels familiar. It all feels connected, not very disjointed and all over the place. So try to stay consistent. So you want to let your personality shine. So if you're funny or if you're mysterious, you want to kind of play that out all through the things as well, all through the different tools as well. But the key here is consistency. I can't say it enough. You want to make it so that it's recognizable across the social landscape. You do not want it to be disjointed. So try to keep that in mind. Pick the colors. Use those hex codes. I hope you know what hex codes are. The colors so you can match it every single time. Use the same fonts. Pick the fonts that you like. Have like a heading font. Have like a subhead font. And use them the same. Use every time. No matter what. On your website, on your images. Be consistent. Share sneak peeks into your literary world. So the nice thing about social media is it's so human. And people like people who are acting human. So be human. So share snippets, like on Twitter, share snippets of your writing process, intriguing quotes from your books or musings on writing life. Example tweet. I have like an example here so that you can kind of see it. In the quiet dawn of hours, characters whisper their secrets. Today, my protagonist revealed a plot twist that I didn't see coming. Like, be like fun, right? Like, oh, because I know like mine might even happen in the shower, or like it might happen in the car, or those are all part of your process. Reveal that. Be human, because people want to see that side of it. I try to leave some examples on each of these so you have them. So let's see here. Process characters. So introduce characters as social companions. Dedicate Facebook posts to introducing your characters. Create character profiles. Share their backstories and ask your readers which character they relate to the most. So an example post might be, meet Emily, the fearless protagonist of my latest novel. What traits do you admire most in your favorite characters? And by asking the question, you're now asking them to engage. When when a post has engagement, somebody likes it, loves it, reacts, or actually comments, Facebook, Twitter, all of it love it, and it pushes your post higher and higher and higher. So even if they reply to that reply, because that is all juice for the social media platform to continue to push your posts up and up and up. Okay, so you want somebody to. Carrie's like, what I see Carrie like.
I'm just like, I really like want to get to the section where we talk a little bit about like the ads and stuff. And I just looked at the time and I had to text my husband, like, I'm not going to be able to meet you when I said I am. Sorry.
Okay. So, I mean, I can go right to that if you want, or I can finish what I'm doing. It's really up to you on where you want to go. Cause it is 7:00. And to be fair, like I'm only on step 3, so it's not very, I mean, I can do an overview of each step and then get there, or
is this like, what do you guys need? Because I feel like everyone has different orientations to social media, and for authors, there's a lot of discussion about how helpful or not that it is. Like, even when I look at, like, we have this conversation constantly about like, if it's for book sales, like besides TikTok, like there's no good evidence that other social media actually builds like that platform. Twitter or X used to, but so I think these are great ideas. I just wonder if like we should just get to some of the things like we have to do to sell our books, like ads. Like we all know, we hear the anecdotes from all of our writer friends that ads are selling their books. So I'm just curious if maybe, unless everybody wants to go through these a little bit more since we're running out of time, that if we skip to that to just hear about how that works might be helpful.
Yeah, I'd like that. Maybe we can just kind of get the top level on the additional ones and then get to the ads, just because I'm curious what they are. So far, a lot of what you've been discussing, I'm really familiar with. I don't know about other people, but I think I'd love to hear more about what other points you might make in case there's something we missed, and then get to the ad.
Okay. That's both two sides of it. So, is there a consensus of like, so, I mean, I can talk about like discounts and promotional giveaways and some of that, which you do when you first launch, or some things like that. Like, that's number 8.
Like, I think we've got that because we know the effective ones for all. We've been talking about that in this group a lot, like Goodreads and BookBub, and like we kind of have like a pretty good sense of that. I think if you guys agree, like I feel like that's something that we talk extensively about, like how to leverage giveaways, and that is one thing that our publisher does actually help with. They have like discounts to some of these sites that we can use. So I think we have that, unless there's some, but now I'm like, is there something that we haven't found or somebody? But usually because we are a big community, like we have a Regal House authors community on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And so everybody shares like the stuff that they have tried or they ask questions. So a lot of these things have like been surfaced through that. And now it's just a matter of like, how much do you want to pay to actually, all of them cost something if they're going to be effective. Like the ones that don't cost anything aren't effective. So for all of us, it's just a matter of like where to put our budget based on what we're trying to get.
Well, one thing I think for social media to keep in mind is if you want to grow in any way, shape, or form, the minimum you should be posting every single day is 3 times on any platform. So if you want to see growth you need to be very consistent and extremely active, period. So if you're going to put your time and energy there, that's what you have to do 3 to 4 times a day. So that's
like when I find people doing that, I kind of don't want to follow them because I'm like, you're putting too much stuff up, and then it's like, so I don't know, like for me, like I get that, like as far as building growth, but
like your
what
reader isn't going to see every single piece that you put up. So they might see like 1 or 2 of those pieces, right? But you're right. You can be obnoxious. That could be something that could come across, but it's very rarely they're going to see all of your stuff. So the algorithm just wants to know you're active, you're human, and you're doing something, and that you're constantly engaging and replying and being human. So that's what the algorithm wants to see. So some of the other things I can actually, I can share my deck with you. It's not a problem to like just share it with you so you can see it. But the last part is Conquer the Kingdom, which is harnessing advertising. And some of the things that you and I had talked about, Carrie, was like you didn't know like the ad rate like at the holidays goes up because everybody's on Amazon trying to sell something for Christmas. So if you want to put an ad on Amazon right now, it's going to cost you way more to get seen than it would back in like August or something. So there's like specific times that are cheaper for you to advertise on there. So there's a few things that I can just kind of go through here, but you want to understand your target audience, your demographics, their interests, their online behaviors. I always try to, with my clients, I try to have them map the customer journey, from the like even like the bio of them, who they are. I give them a name. So it might be like, and I actually use a name from the clients. Like I actually use one of their customer names, and I, talk about like, are they female? Are they male? Are they 20? Are they whatever? And I actually like have a name. So like, for example, for the pet food store, she has a client that's like a bargain hunter. Her name is Eileen. So we actually name her Eileen the Bargain Hunter, right? And this is her demographic. This is what she is. These are her challenges. This is what she wants. This is her path. Like how she likes the emails because she gets to see what's the latest promotions, like all the like psychographic and demographic type things about your customers. So you want to make sure you have that clearly outlined for yourself before you do any advertising. Otherwise you're spraying and praying and you won't have the very targeted ability that these tools allow for you to do, to tailor your ads to those ideal readers that you want. You want to choose the right platforms. So you want to identify the platforms where your target audience is the most active. So I don't know if a 22-year-old is going to be the most active on Amazon, but a 48-year-old is probably really active on Amazon. So you want to make sure that you're targeting where they're finding their books, where they're shopping, right? So for books, platforms like Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, Amazon ads can be effective. Each platform has its unique features and cater differently. So we do some local advertising on Facebook for this particular store around them because it makes sense on Facebook. And then we do some Google ads for them, right? Because that's more across the country for their online sales. So we have a different strategy for each kind of purchaser, if that makes sense. You want to make sure you craft compelling and concise copy. You want to have a hook, right, to get their attention. You want to highlight the unique points of the book, such as genre, plot, and any awards or recognitions you've been given for it. You want to use language that resonates with them, not with you. So it's really hard as a writer to write for your audience the ad, not for you. So you want to put it in their speak, not in your speak. So if you know somebody who's a fan and really loves your book, have them help you craft the write-up. So it's not just you writing it, because I think it gets really hard to get out of our heads sometimes. Eye-catching visuals, so it's super important. So it might not just be your book. Some platforms allow for video. So do video if you can. Well, a lot of people aren't doing video yet. So do video. That will cut through half the clutter right there. Do a video. You might want to, it's just really crucial to have a really eye-catching, I'm sure you like spent hours and days and weeks determining what your cover was going to look like, but how do we make it pop? So if everybody else is doing and I don't like the color yellow, but if everybody else is doing white, should it be yellow? Because that's the one thing that's going to stand out. If everybody else is doing it, so you're in a sea of white, then you want yellow, right?
You
So,
probably saw us all chuckle because nobody gets a say over what their book cover looks like.
but maybe the background that it's on is.
A lot of us had battles over it with the publisher, and
But maybe the background needs to be yellow. Is my point. Like whatever. Like if you're seeing, like go and look. What is everybody? Like do something different. Don't do what everybody else is doing, because you gotta stop the scroll, right? And if you're like everybody else, how do you get them to get your attention, right? So you got to kind of like zig. If everybody else is doing this, so go and look and see what in your genre what everybody's doing. And do something a little different, like a little brighter, a little whatever to catch the interest.
And you said it's okay to use like visuals that aren't necessarily the book. They just need to relate to like the book themes.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, everybody uses a cover, which I get, but even with the cover, you could maybe use another image to get. So I think like the picture of the girl might be like the thing that grabs the attention, right? Because it is so jarring to see this young girl on a man's lap, right? So something that would get their attention. So I think there's something that you need to cut through that. So if everybody, obviously the cover is important. I don't want to tell you not to use the cover, but I feel like if it was me, I probably would try to do something different. And if the publishing house isn't forcing you to do it a certain way, then you need to think about do something different. You want to be a purple cow in a field of white cows. So how do you be the purple cow? You can't be white. And it's going to look odd. But it's going to, if you drive by a field of white cows and there's a purple cow, you're going to be like, holy crap, there's a purple cow. So it's going to get your attention. So you need to do something different. Okay. Let's see here. Consider incorporating video, a short video trailer. I think you could even use something that you've already done, Krissa. Maybe just make it a little bit shorter to get, like a 30-second or 25-second, if you can make it a little bit shorter to get their attention. That movement of a video is a whole game changer. And people love movement. When they're scrolling, if you have an image, you have text, you have an image, and you have video, people are going to stop on a video. They're going to scroll right past that text. They're going to look at the image, think they know it, and they're going to go to the video. So if you can use video, use video. I'm lost on my notes. What page am I? What page was it? 89. Thank you.
Advertising platforms.
What was that? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
I finally did get some of my ad bids on Amazon. Finally did get. I set $100 budget, and I got I got a lot of impressions, but you only get charged when they click on the actual ad.
That's the way you should do it. You should do it by click, not by impression, because you want somebody to actually take action. Yes, you don't want anybody can look at your stuff.
They say it hasn't resulted in any sales on their platform, so probably that means no sales. But I only spent $3.50, and now I realize now that it's getting even closer to it goes through the end of the year, and now that I realize as soon as we got into November, it's because I set the amount at, I think it was 40 cents, and I'm not getting any traction now, like you said. So I'm just gonna let it peter out, and then I'll do another campaign probably in the spring or after the new year when my audiobook is coming out, because it's cool to see what happens.
So limited time offers can create some urgency. So if it's this week only, there's Black Friday. If you have any of that, even for yourself, for your website, for your social posts, creating like a deal just for that might create some traction for you, gets you some reviews, all of that. So don't be afraid to hop on that bandwagon a little bit to capitalize on that. I know some of the ones that I looked at, they require you to be 99 cents or less. So there was some specific sites that might be good just for launching. But you could do a relaunch too, right? Especially if you have an audiobook coming, you could do a relaunch with it and do something kind of fun with that. You want to set up conversion tracking to make sure that you're measuring, looking at it, seeing what's working, what's not working. So when you sent me your report, I said, send me your reports, Carrie. And she was like, okay. She's like, there's nothing on there. And I was like, well, I can tell you right now, this is a really low click bid for Amazon. So, but you have to kind of test it. I say for as always, A/B testing, try a small budget and then try a larger budget and see what happens. If it costs you a little bit more to get actual purchases, it might be worth it, right? So just kind of play a little bit. And then I also would play with the content, like the graphics. Like maybe the graphic with the picture gets more activity, or maybe the graphic with purple gets more activity. So I would also do A/B testing in that, but just do one A/B test at a time so you can measure and know what works. Do that. Okay, that works. Then A/B test the next thing. Oh, that works. Then do that. Like try, that's what we do for our ads. We are always constantly testing and tweaking. Having this word first does better. Let's do this. So even the copy hook, we might take the copy hook and rewrite it 3 or 4 different ways, and then A/B test the copy hook and whichever copy hook. So by the time at the end we know this color is better, this copy hook is better, this image is better, and then we have an actual ad that's converting at a much higher rate. So A/B testing, super, super powerful. But make sure, like when you're testing, just like a scientist, all the things are the same except for that one variable so that you know what is the thing that is working. Does that make sense? Okay.
That's so helpful. And do you ever like test two things that like, would you test like Amazon and Facebook at the same time to see which one performs better? Or
because it could be very, very different in each platform for sure. Like one ad, one type, one color could perform way better on Facebook, and an ad and a color and a whatever could perform very differently on Amazon because you have a different target. All those tools are used differently by different people. So, and their algorithms are different and all the things are different. It's really hard. You know, I always joke with my team, when I started out in marketing in 1998, the internet was just a baby player. How much print work were we doing, Carrie? Like everything was print. I hate to date myself, but everything was print. Even our library of graphics was a film, a piece of film that we had in the library. Now every tool, and then the algorithm changes on a dime. Like tomorrow, Google could have a whole new release and change everything. So the best thing you can do is be authentic, be yourself, do your testing, be diligent, keep an eye on things. I would say at least every week. I'm kind of obsessive though. I oftentimes will change copy or change something. I look at it every day. I want to know, is this working? Because I don't have big budgets to work with. So I need to know right away, is it working or not? So, you know, I would give it a week to play out so you can really see and make sure that the time frame is the same when you're doing A/B testing. This is a week, this is a week, this is what did. And try also to like make sure it's not like a holiday week and in a non-holiday week. Like you want to make sure like all the factors are the same, just like a scientist, right? As much as possible. Okay. Different headlines, different targeting options. Analyze the performance of each variant to identify what resonates best with your audience. And what resonates best with your audience, Carrie, will probably not be anything close to what resonates for Krista or for Judith. Like all of it's going to be different for each of you. So it's really hard to share that information with each other because of that. But when you do A/B testing and you talk about like changing font, changing whatever, those are all consistent things you all can do. Like it doesn't matter which genre, which anything. It's all things that you can do. Set a $10 budget. Test it. $10 for this one, $10 for this one, see which one does better. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Monitor, 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 monitor. And you want to do more of what's working. So if you're getting more clicks, that's what's working. So do more of that and then tweak that and see. And if it starts to go down, you know, that tweak was wrong. Like you want to go back to your baseline and start again and keep tweaking. And people who do this for a living every day, that's all they're doing is tweaking. They're just tweaking. They're little mad scientists, tweaking, 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 tweaking. So you're going to eventually get your recipe. You'll get your recipe of what works if you know, like this kind of hook. Try to use action, powerful, bold, compelling words too. Don't be soft and passive. You want to capture attention. You want your hook to be strong. You don't want it to be, I mean, you're writers, you know, like you don't want it to be something that is not compelling. So this is what I have for you. It's several pages. So if you scan this, you have to put in your email because I would like to talk to you eventually, like with my newsletters and such. It's a free download. It's several pages. It has a whole thing on Meta ads. It has a whole thing on Google ads, or not Google ads, Amazon ads. And there's a few things on there about Goodreads and BookBuds and some of those things too, just some basics. But there's several pages of like best practices and tips for on each section of what to do for when you're doing your pay-per-click, you know, all those things.
Excellent. I'm just sending it myself right
So you'll get an email once you put your email address in. It might take a couple of minutes. You'll get an email and then you'll just have it to download and it'll be yours. And it's, like I said, it's several pages. So you can go through there. And and like I've said, like if you have questions or anything, you can always just give me a call and say, Beverly, I don't understand this, whatever. Sam does most of my ads for my team because, again, this is more specialized. I think as we've gotten through the years, you have to be more specialized. You have to do it more often to really know it. So I have some general strategies myself of what I always tell everybody, like this is what we should be thinking about. And then Sam's the one that's doing like the A/B testing and all of that. So he's in there making sure something works. He knows where things fit and how to set it up. So even if you wanted him to help you set up a couple of templates to work from, he could do that for you.
Amazing. Yeah, because this is like, we always hear like Facebook ads. I never really think about Google ads. So when you do a Google ad, like what? I mean, it's obvious Facebook and Amazon because they're contained within their platforms. But where do Google ads go?
So Google ads go to your website. You go to a specific online retailer. So you're going to go so if you want to sell, like the Pet Bistro has an online store where they sell the pet food and treats and whatever. So we'll do a Google ad for like holiday toys for your dog, or something like we do advent calendars, for example, for dogs and cats, a very specific search term, right? I want an advent calendar for my dog. The Pet Bistro does an ad for those because it's very specific. We don't do an ad for dog food because you would be competing with Chewies and everybody else and their brother. Like it's a really hard search term to understand. But when you do an ad for advent calendar for dogs, it's a much more competitive space for a small retailer like the Pet Bistro. So you want to think about that too. This is where it gets really complicated. The more specific your search term, the less competition there is. So the longer it is. So if you say dog food, but if you say organic, made in the USA, dog food, now it's a much more specific request, right? And that ad is going to be cheaper than dog food because it's not as popular. The more popular the search term, the more expensive it will be. They want to make money, right? So if everybody's searching dog food, we'll make that the most competitive. It's economy, the economy, economics, supply and demand. If it's a high demand, it's going to be a very expensive ad. The lower the demand, the cheaper it is, but you have to have the right phrase for what you want people to find you for. So if you're selling a book on your website directly from you, I don't know how many of you do that, then you would do a Google ad to have them come right to your website kind of thing. So, and you could do a very specific search term. And if you need help with that too, developing out your search terms, let me know that too. Like there are some tools where you can put in like keywords and it helps you find some of that. So I have some of those as well that we
and then
use.
That just bumps you up, like when people are searching for stuff, like your website, it comes up like higher than other people. Okay.
Yeah, so Google really is in the business right now of local, which is great. So like you've seen it, I'm sure you've seen it. You put in like Chinese food, right, and it comes up with like the map with the top 3 whatever that are near you. So that's all gamed by your website, your keywords in your Google My Business profiles. The number of reviews you have. The more reviews you have, the higher Google thinks that you're legit. So there's all kinds of things that play into that. So Google is becoming a really huge force for local search. I mean, it's changing all the time, but that's like, they're gaming that system right now. They want everyone to go through Google to find who's near me, right now. So that,
yeah, like it creates, for us as authors, it creates author, like if you go and you search like my name, it'll come up like Carrie, so I'm an author, and it'll have like all these like authors. It's really weird. And like, I never made it do that. But I noticed that with when I Google everybody else too, like that it knows that we're, now it knows we're authors and actually like defines it that way, which is fascinating.
yeah. So it defines you as fiction writer.
Yeah. Accurate.
Yes. But that's all from your website. That's all from your website. It's taking your website, it's creating an aggregate from that, and it's creating a profile for you. And the more it sees you around town, which is like, doing your talks and doing it, it's contributing and building that profile on you, and it's becoming a stronger. The more it sees you around the internet, the more strong and correct your profile will be. It's pretty freaky how on it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you're seen, like the more you're out there, the more it knows, for sure.
Okay.
What kind of questions do you guys have? Like, instead of me just talking now, what kind of questions specifically do you have?
First of all, just thank you so much, Beverly. This was so much stuff. So much good stuff. I mean, like, I know I have all these notes. I'm like, you take like a month off of work and just fix all these things. But, so much of this is us just like shooting in the dark at stuff. So just even things like, kind of course correcting us on how our website should look. And like, even things like, with the social media too, I didn't want to, I'm sorry for rushing you too.
No, it's okay. It's valid. Totally valid.
But I think like, the ideas of like, I've been like looking at my site and watching where the traffic comes from, and it comes mostly from Instagram and not from Twitter. So I'm not, even though I have way more followers on Twitter, I'm like, Instagram has always been my place. Like because that's where the artist community is. So that's where I naturally like working in the arts.
And you have a very solid aesthetic. So people kind of know your feel. They know you in that space. So yes.
And then I've been able to like watch. So I'm like, and I don't really love being on X. I'll stay on it, but I don't feel like now it's nice to see the data, because now I'm like, now I don't feel like I have to be, spend time there. I'd rather just keep spending time on Instagram, where I feel like that's, where the like people who are actually like, I can actually watch the fact that they're coming to my website, directly linking from there.
So that's a good point. When you're looking at, so you should set up Google Analytics for your website. So if you go to googleanalytics.com, there's an integration with these websites for you to have. You have a measurement tool on there. It tells you your demographics, who's coming, what age, what sex, what location. It tells you what is their entry pages as well. So if they're coming on your home page, your about page, a blog, a specific blog. So what we've done even with some of our clients is we see like one blog will like hit for some reason. Like that will be the thing that people find us on. So then we'll go and we'll really optimize that blog to make sure there are lots of links to get them to buy, whatever that looks like. So we want to convert them on that page. So even though it's an informational page, now that we have the traffic there, how do we optimize that traffic and make sure that we are giving a real clear call to action to get them to do the next thing on the journey, right? So whatever that looks like. So just make sure if you're getting a lot of traffic on our page, that page is optimized to the best ability so that it is pulling them through the journey, making sure that you optimize that to get them to convert, whatever that looks like, whether it's going to Amazon or wherever it is that you have the thing that for them to buy, the book to buy.
And like I was thinking about when you're the website section, like, I had like my other site had just been like, I was like third person, so I love the way you describe it as like your story. So like now it's personalized. It's me. It's like, it's written in first person. Yep. It's not pretending that like some other thing created this for me. I'm like, I'm the one making this thing. And it just opened up a lot more opportunity to be more like authentic. And I love the ideas that you were saying about like the reader's corner. I was just like, because you can visualize those things and create like a little destination. I already had a few people like send me notes, like other authors that were like, oh, I love the bookshelf. Thanks for having my book in your bookshelf. People have noted stuff that's been like, no one ever looked at my website really before, like really much at all. So it's definitely effective. And like I said, I haven't even like really done the SEO stuff. So just the changes of like making things findable made a huge difference. I have like, now there was like internationally people looking at it and stuff too. So I'm excited to go back in now, like hopefully this weekend, and start adding in some of those SEO terms and stuff. Cause that was the stuff where I saw it on there to do it. And I was like, I'm not going to wait till we have this conversation so I don't go in there and screw it up and put like the wrong things, like I want to do it right. And make
So
sure
that
that
is like
it's
the
like
top line SEO must-haves. There are other things you can do that are a little bit more sophisticated. Maybe there's like a part 2 we could do at some point, but those are all like very top level. Just you should have this for a good website experience for your reader. And if it's a compelling website and it draws me in, I'm more apt to come back, and I'm more apt to like be more interested in your content in the future. I think the other thing that I think is super powerful that I don't know a lot of authors are doing is capturing your emails and communicating to them and developing that relationship. So I just really want to drive that home, that your website becomes essentially, I'm from Detroit, so everything's a wheel, right? So it's a wheel. Your website is the center. It's the hub of the wheel. Without the hub, the wheel doesn't work. So your website has to work, and everything feeds into like a spoke to the wheel. So your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, any PR you do, any events you do, everything, this is the center of it. So think of it as you don't have a retail location, right? They can't come into your retail location. This is the location they come in to see you, meet you, buy from you. This is it. Unless you're out live, right? And you're doing a talk and you're selling your book and doing a book signing. Otherwise, this is the place where they meet you. And this is where they may first meet you before they even go see, like this now creates the thing for me to go, I want to go see her when she's in town. So this is the hub, the most important thing. That's why I was like, I feel like, Carrie, we need to take a step back and make sure the hub is solid before you start spending a lot of money on ads and everything else, because you may find writing, blogging, doing all those things will attract the traffic that you want if you're really strategic to be able to get people to come. And I think, like for me, I don't know, I don't buy books typically on Amazon. I do some Kindle, but I usually, it's because of recommendation, right? Like that's where I get my reading list. So, and I don't read as much as I used to. I used to be a voracious reader before I had children and a family. Now I don't have as much free time to do that. And now I actually read a lot more business books because I have my own company. So I'm reading entrepreneurship and leadership books, very different than the typical books I used to read. So my reading tastes have changed. So it's usually like another entrepreneur will say, Beverly, you have to read this book called Scaling Up because you're growing and you can, so that it becomes part of conversation in that.
I love that. That just made me think about just adding a recommend my book link to the site so that people, while they're on there and they're thinking like, oh, you would love this book, they can just send an email to somebody off your website.
But even like there's like a share capability too. I don't know if Wix has it, but on WordPress there's like a share this on my Facebook page. Like I could literally share this book. Hey, this book looks fun. Who wants to read it with me or whatever? Could be an option, like to make it so easy to connect and share that out, because that's how we refer stuff now. And I was asking you, like on the book club thing, I was asking some insight on that, because again, I don't live in this author space in the marketing world, right? I'm much more of a small business marketer, but I'm like, book clubs are where it's at. Like if you can get in a book club, that's 10 people, and then they know 10 people, and then they know 10 people, right? So like it's this huge referral machine that you have for yourself. So I'm like, how do you get into book clubs? So that's why I was like, the more experiential you can make it, the more people will talk about it. I mean, even like, I think I don't know how this applies, and again, I'm just spitballing here, but in my stores, I have them have like an Instagram worthy setup so they can take a picture while they're in the store or with the product. So can you set up at the book club some kind of Instagram worthy setup? Like, do you have like a something they could print out and they could use as like a, like the signs you see people have, like, I read Carrie's book today or whatever. That's something kind of fun. Like, how do you make it shareable and make it Instagrammable? Like that's what everybody's looking for, is these things that are very shareable, and these like little snapshots of their life that are experiences. So how do you make it more of an experience?
Yeah, you just made me inspired. Like I want to go back to my book club page now and like really build it out to be like its own mini hub in the bigger hub of the website.
Yes.
It becomes a little destination for book clubs, and I can do so much more there. Because you're right, like it's so hard for us because most book clubs don't let you like apply to them or submit to them, and they actually frown on it. But then they also tend to pick books that are getting the most media attention because that's what they're seeing all the time.
Right.
So we have to really be crafty and creative about how we're
But
serving
if you
that
create a hub
audience.
like that, Carrie, I'll go spread that shit everywhere.
Okay.
You have your army of allies, right? You have your army of allies. So I can say, oh my gosh, this author has this amazing book club experience. Like I can like spread it in an organic way for you, right? So you just need like Tina, myself, and Veronica, you know, all of us to do that for you. So but you create that experience, and even like I'm thinking, I don't know, what was the name of the restaurant in the book? What was the name of the restaurant?
Oh my God, I'm already forgetting. It's the diner, and it just went out of business.
But you could say like something could be about the diner, like I ate at this diner, or something kind of fun. Like you could use like just. I think you could. I mean, that could really be a whole creative session to like just really go down that road and make it really robust. And I think again, thinking of it as an experience all the way across. Like even with the Amish thing for Krista, like there's a whole thing with Amish food, Amish cooking. There's Amish cookbooks. There's like all kinds of things that play into this Amish culture, right? And so she could have like a whole hub of that and make it a real experience, learning about that community. And really like creating that kind of wonder in that. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot that could happen with that you could. And I'm not as familiar with everybody else's books. I have not read them. Again, I have more of an insight because Krista shared this really beautiful video of it. But you know, you just have, again, if it was a period piece too. Like I'm really into like anything that's biography drama essentially, but I love like kings and queens and like Elizabeth and like Elizabethan type stuff. So I would like if we could have like the food from that time or wine from that time or buy a goblet, like even that, like if you could have even like Amazon store where they could buy the things you could make a percentage off of to prepare for it.
Oh my God, the Amazon store is a great idea. I'm just thinking of like all the AD stuff I could put into it, like in my book. I'm going to shut up though, because I feel like I've talked a lot. What about the rest of you? Like, do you have any? Beverly and I could accidentally talk for the rest of the night. Right. And I know it's 7:30 and we're probably, no, I'm going to be quiet.
Carol, you've been really quiet. Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah,
or anything?
I'm on like my third page of notes now. I really love these ideas. I mean, it's really like sparking a lot, and I've told my son, my college age son, that he's going to be like helping me with my website. So he's going to have oh doggies, yeah.
So it's very useful.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff already in play, so I'm just thinking about some reorganization to make it a little bit more streamlined on my website.
Mm-hmm.
But
you do have a lot of content. I remember I was like, Judith has a lot of content.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to streamline it down a little bit, but I already have a book club page. I have a readers page. I have a retailers page. I just need to. The menu is tricky. If you do too many things on the menu, it gets double
it's true.
It's awful. So you know, but yeah, this is very helpful.
Stephanie, what about you?
Well, I've taken a lot of notes, and particularly noted this, underline the thing that you said, if you can't do everything, don't worry, because I should say those words when I get up in the morning, because I do worry. But, you know, oh my God, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, and so it's been very informative, and I need to kind of think about some of these things, but goodness, thank you very much. Gee.
I didn't mean to overwhelm you, Stephanie, but I think that's really the truth, is you can't do everything. So pick something and to start building your foundation, right? So start with the things that are the most important to you.
Yeah, the problem with me is knowing like I've got a whole list of my book was out like 5 months ago, and I have a whole list of things I want to do and people I want to contact and this I want to do and that I want to do. And I look at it and I say, oh my God. So it's very hard to pick one thing from one item from a large category and say, okay, this is it for now. So when I get so much stuff, I just took a lot of notes. Thank you so much. And I'll try to see which is the most important thing for me to do.
Even
next.
if you just start with one page, just do 1 page a week or something, like just, I mean, again, break it down into mini tasks for yourself, because it's very, I just redid my website and I'm still like, and I, it's like, I never want to say it's done. And it's like, I'm always tweaking a word here, making this word better. Like, it's a constant process if you care, right? Like, it's a constant process. And I think even finding your voice in it, like I think, you had your first iteration, Carrie, now you have a second iteration. Every time you do it, you become more wise and more mature, and you just understand my voice. You become more confident in what you're saying and what you're showing. So that will reflect on everything you do. So this process is actually supposed to be iterative. It's supposed to be, it's just like with your book, by the time it gets to the final, it's been through all these different things. The first draft isn't what's at the last draft. So I just don't ever want you to think you have to get to the last draft without the process, because the process is important. So do what you can, get it out of your head. Just getting it out of your head is half the battle.
Well, I just realized when you were talking that I should go into, my website is very unmodern because I am very unmodern. I give a historical picture. My whole thought is another time, another place, so it's very colored and layered and stuff. And I basically like that. I mean, I'm with Authors Guild, so it's a known website. You can you get certain what's the word, templates that you have to work with, and now they've changed it. So my type size is all wrong because they've done some basic changes. But I realized that I have left my last 2 novels, which are still selling, but not a lot, on the first page, and I should really move those to their own tab, because what I'm concentrating on selling now is the current one.
Yep. And I do remember seeing like some of your other books. Yep. And I remember thinking, what is she selling?
Yeah,
like, what's her new one? Yeah, I remember thinking that.
Yeah, so I should do that. I think I did that. I sort of didn't make a choice. I just sort of let it be, and then I added the new one and left the other ones on. But I think that maybe that's the first thing I'll do is take those off and put them on their own tab. There are tabs for them, so that people can concentrate on.
But you always kind of like, again, leave them there. So after you do your one that you're focused on, you can put a little button that says, check out my other books or whatever, and leave them there so that they know you have other books. And because I love Carrie's books. I've read everything she's written. Well, not everything, but all the things you've published. And so if I know there's other books, I'm going to buy them all because I like her writing. Excuse me, sneeze. So you do want to leave them there because if they bought one, they'll buy another. Buy another.
I have tabs for them. I have tabs for the 2 ones about famous historical figures, and I have tabs for the 3 Elizabethan ones, which are in a different kind of category. So I could just move that into the tab section and not just leave it on the main page. The other books, the books are not my current one.
That sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah, I did by cleaning it up a little bit and not have such a. It doesn't have to look like my great aunt's attic, even though I like the cluttered look. It can be.
But you can do that with fonts, and you can do that with imagery. You can do that with lots of things. It doesn't have to necessarily be the background. I mean, there's just things you can do visually that will still have. I love that concept of the great aunt's attic. That's a really cool. That's very cool. I would feel very comfortable in that. So, but you just have to kind of the aesthetic needs to be easy to follow still. And read and navigate. That's the thing. You can still have whatever aesthetic you want. You just need to make sure the journey is easy to follow.
That's has a lot of really good videos too, because her son did all these amazing videos of her before her book was coming out. So you have all that great content, Stephanie, too, that you could get in there. It's really good.
I'm so. I doubt myself so much technically. I'm not quite sure how to get them in the site. I'll have to think about it. And Authors Guild has their own parameters, which are not very sophisticated. But I probably could get some. And my son was just totally incredible in my launch of the book, and did all these videos stressing on the fact that I had worked on this one book for 39 years until I got published. And that was a great encouragement to some of the people who've been working on their books for 39 years. So I was really quite well. He's now retreated into his own wonderful work and his job. And so I don't call upon him unless I absolutely need to. But I should get one of those in. They really are quite marvelous.
If Writers Guild doesn't have a lot of tech capabilities, you can put everything on a YouTube channel and then just use the links and just take images and link them to the images, and that
might even be on a YouTube channel. I never really thought about that. I'll write it down here to ask Jessie where they are.
And you can even create like playlists. So if it's about one book, you can have a one book playlist. So every playlist is about that particular book or another book. Like you'd have separate playlists as well. So they would just run after each other, like and tell like the story, the total story. If people are interested.
Playlists for the novel and sent it to me. She fell so much in love with it. She people play and never did anything with it. I should put it on there. I really have gone.
If you have video, you need to share that. You can't be hiding that in the attic. You got to cut that out there. Krista, you've been quiet.
I just popped something in the chat because I have a bookshop.org bookshelf that I use for my classes and my students. And I also have shelves of books by friends and various other things. So if you use that instead, because Carrie, I saw you have all the book covers, but you're not going to the purchasing, set the same thing up in Bookshop, and then if someone buys, you get a small percentage.
Oh yeah, I did that I had done that at this point, but I think I just have Stephanie's and Carrie's up there.
Oh my goodness,
yeah, and
I'm on your shelf.
Martha's.
Yes, of course you're on my shelf. You're all on my shelves. Everyone I can get on my shelves. I have to reorganize my shelves because I have, people in weird places, but they're there. And I still haven't gotten a payout, but if one more person buys a book, I might get $20. So it's another way to do it. And it also is another one of those links back to your site if you want to do that. And I had it on my right-hand nav, but then it got really busy, so I took it off, but I may put it somewhere at some point.
Krista, what about you? I've seen a couple comments in chat. Is there anything else that you struck your fancy or you had a question on, or?
Just think it's been so interesting being part of this group because we all have different genres, and I think everything that we're doing is totally marketable in different ways, whether it's the Edwardian gay love story or Judith's epic, kick-ass female protagonist and Detroit Grit. And I haven't read your book yet, but the dark comedy, everyone loves dark comedies, yes. So, and I'm doing the teen YA thing. It's a YA thriller this time. And I think everything we can do is create the story that you talked about, the story, the brand. I mean, we're all different. We're all with the same publisher, but we all have something we can use and make accessible to readers. And I think that's been interesting. Something that happened to me recently was I was thinking about, I had a newsletter thing, but I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't like newsletters, and I don't really read them, and I tried doing it, and I just sort of slacked and was like, I'd rather make videos and pictures.
But you could do the video as your newsletter. You could be that. Could be your newsletter.
It's true. It's true. But I was thinking about past contacts. And someone actually reached out to me who was a librarian. She said I was the first author that came to their teen book club, which was back in 2007 or something, a long time ago. She's like, will you come again? I'm like, of course. And she's like, I'm going to buy 25 copies of your book and you're going to come talk to the teens. And I was like, hell yeah. And then I was thinking about how, I don't know, maybe this group has made me feel more empowered with my voice. And I said, I think I'm going to speak up and ask her if she knows anyone else who wants to do this. And she did. And I've had 2 people reach out to me this week. So I'm going to be a busy girl when I go to the first thing is I'm doing my launch in Miami because that's my hometown, and I got my friends and family in Florida. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm trying to set up these library visits within that time frame. And yes, I do charge. So it's like they're like, how much do you charge? And I'm like, let me work within your budget. So I have like a flat fee that I do for schools and libraries, but I always try to be like super accommodating. I'm just like, whatever, like, here's what I do, but I can work around that or whatever. And I mean, basically I'm like, please buy my book and put it in your library. But when we've been talking a lot about book clubs, and obviously mine is a teen book club, but if they're going to buy a bunch of them and have these bodies in the room, it's like, the main thing I guess I'm saying is this person remembered me, reached out to me, I spoke up, asked her to find some other people because it's been a while and I'm kind of out of the loop. I mean, all of us are because of pandemic and everything, but so that's what's going on with me right now. I'm just trying to get all this organized and
Hold on a second, please. Someone's at the door. I'm so sorry.
Krista did something super cool too, Beverly. Like, so Goodreads is obviously a big place for authors, and they have Goodreads giveaways, which people enter in order to maybe win a copy of your book.
That's on my list. That's on my list. The Goodreads giveaways.
Yeah. So Krista, because she's so creative, like did all these hand drawings and like the margins of her book. It was so cool. I was like, I want to win this, but I was like, I need to let some stranger win this. But I was like, I want that book so bad. I mean, Krista, you must have had I wanted it so bad that I was like,
it makes my heart ache.
So
Carrie,
I'm sorry.
you could totally do this. I mean, I know that your book isn't brand new, but you can still do Goodreads giveaways, and you can write your notes of behind the scenes, an annotated book, and that's what makes people interested. So it's an annotated book. It takes time to write the notes in it, or for me, I like notes and drawings, but people will enter that giveaway even if your book isn't totally brand new. So I encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I might do that because that makes it way more fun than just like running the campaign everybody else runs. You've done so many cool creative things that, and I actually love the idea of you doing like a video newsletter. Like that would be amazing. Like I know it would be a lot of work to create that much content, but like I would be so excited to like actually get a newsletter that's like Judith does a really good job of putting multimedia in hers too, so it's not just like here's my thing about like whatever I'm doing. Like it has links, it has video, it has stuff to listen to. There's always something. But I love the idea of like a visual one that's just visual, like that you get it and it's like some of your amazing drawings and like a little narrative story like that in video format.
That so fits you, Krista. I mean, just from what I know, it so fits you. So be you in it. You don't have to be corporate-y. You don't have to do the thing that everybody else is doing. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like you said, like everybody's different. And what we try to do is help you spark your unique opportunity. This is a unique opportunity for you to have something that some people don't like to do video. So that's not organic or natural and authentic for them, but that's totally authentic for you. So you should do that because that's who you are. So I never want to force somebody to be something that they're not. I might challenge you to go outside your comfort zone a little bit because tech and all of that, but I would never force you to be something that you're not. And I think the more you can create an experience, and I mean, when I mentioned that I loved your video, she was like, oh, Chris is so creative. So clearly, Carrie, there's a lot of creativity that you have, and that I think that is something that is so unique, and you need to tap into that and really, how do you make that and connect that to the end user? Don't leave it inside of you. Let's share it and get it out there as much as possible, and get them to stay connected to you as much as possible. So, I mean, again, if you have that talent, I would encourage you to do more of that. Yeah, you don't have to do it. You can do even a podcast. Like if that's your thing, you don't want to be on camera, do a podcast. That's okay too. There's lots of options for that. And
I love that you formatted this about using that idea of the way that we write in stories. So I feel like that just broke my mind open of just be super creative with these things. Don't worry about try, like you said, it's not corporate, try not to just really find the fun in it, the fun way to do stuff. Cause so much of the stuff we do has to feel so serious and we're so wrapped up in it. And I'm recently, I need to devote more time to making this fun because it's hard. And all of us here have had a really challenging time because we haven't had a ton of support. So we have each other, that we're that's how this group kind of formed. But I hope that, I love hearing that, Krista, that like hopefully this group is inspiring everybody to feel, you know, empowered to make it a fun process and to find the joy in the promotion and marketing that we're forced to do.
So you should be, I mean, I'm gonna like say this, like you should be, I have a dot card, but I mean, that card is like a business card, and you can, it's got a QR code on it, and anybody can find my information or whatever. But you can put whatever you want on there. You can put video and all kinds of things on there. It could go right to your website, whatever you want it to look like. But I challenge you, because you are such creative people, like to not live within this constraint of corporate small business. Like, yes, you can act like one, but you don't have to present as one. So present as yourselves. And that is your unique spark. That is what makes you different from anybody else and creates the connection for your readers. Like, they want you to be quirky and clever and all of the things. They want that from you. They expect it from you. But if you come across all whitewashed and like toned down and like the soul sucked out of your stuff, who wants to connect with that? I mean, I don't. So that's why I said experiential, and like thinking that way, and like thinking about how to make it like a true experience for your reader. And that's what I think. And I know that J.K. Rowling is huge and an anomaly, and I get all that. And like, not everybody has, I get it. I get like that. But like, they have the quizzes for the Sorting Hat. She's created an experience across her writing, obviously with lots of budget and programming and things like that. But you guys can still do that. Oh, I can't hear you, Judith. I'm sorry. You're muted.
I'm pretty sure Scholastic did all that. In fact, I know the brand manager for the Harry Potter series, and I know that Scholastic did all that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that she has money and she has backing and she has things that most authors don't have. But you can create like mini versions of some of that. Like, you can, even if you do a poll as opposed to a full-on quiz, like you can do things like that are like very small snippets of those kinds of things. She has like the candies and all the things. Like, is there a candy that kind of resonates to your characters? Is there, like, I know some characters chew gum, or like, I'm just thinking, like, how do you take that? The one thing that I loved about Carrie's book is I did not want to stop reading about the two characters. Like, I was so drawn to the two characters. I did not want the story to end. I wanted more of the characters. And if there's other ways that I can still have those characters and not be in the story, that would be exciting for me. So I was very connected to her two characters in the story and how they live these parallel lives. And I wanted to know more. So what else is there about them that could still carry out? If you're not going to do a second book on them, which I'm imagining you're not, then how do I still have a connection to those characters?
Oh, I love that idea. That's such a good way to. We should have done this before my book came out.
Well, you could always do a relaunch, so don't think you're done. You can do. Yeah. You can decide, like, maybe is there like a date in the book that could be like a relaunch date or something, like you can.
Well, I had the audiobook coming out, so I have been talking, like, in this group I've been thinking about, like, for the people who are about to launch, like, yes, I'm kind of like, I have to get back in that mode. It's very interesting. I have to say, like, I don't know if any of the rest of you guys tuned into that. There was a Authors Guild ran a webinar about how to DIY your book launch successfully, but it ended up actually kind of like morphing into a conversation also about marketing a bit. And one of the women on there was talking about how instead of hiring a publicist, she hired a marketing partner. And this is basically what they did, right? They created all these experiences. And I was like, oh, so smart. Like, I mean, you kind of need the reviews and stuff because that's what libraries and bookstores and the trade kind of sector will look at. But man, if there was a way to also, like, or maybe for, like, and for me, like, I don't have the publicist anymore because it was just for like a little bit of time, but I was like, I got to think like this for the audio launch, and then maybe for like my next book, that would be the kind of help I would get.
Could you seed, like, I'm thinking, like, so we do case studies. So we ask, we'll do something for people, like we'll do something for free to get a case study or a review or whatever. But could you seed some book clubs with a book club package for this launch? Like, could you like pick in every city, maybe even do a contest? Like, if your book club is interested in doing this, do some kind of contest, do an ad on the contest. That's what I would do an ad on. And so I'm just thinking again, like we haven't like specifically talked. So I haven't like, this is very like top level, but in every city, if like major city, like I'm just thinking like the big cities, seed a book club in every single one and do a contest for them, and whoever's chosen, and maybe they have to like, I don't know, do something fun, like Instagrammy, right? Like they have to go to a specific location, or they have to take somehow a picture to get entered. You have a specific hashtag, whatever, for it. And if they get it, then they get 10 books and this package, like they get a box, and in the box has like the recipe and the music and the whole thing, and it's a whole experience. But part of it is they have to like do an unboxing video. They have to like, and everybody has to share it. Like you give them some rules, and then, but you're giving them all the things, but that's essentially your marketing cost, right? Is the 10 books, the package, whatever. But if you could get 25 of those, that's 10 people, that's 250 people now. Like you could get like, if you could somehow make it, and then if they could, what I would ask too is maybe if they could also get another book club to sign up from your book club. So this is like multi-level marketing type of thing, right? Like just one more person can sign up. So like somehow make a requirement of it. Now I say it kind of cheesy, but you know what I'm saying? Like if from your book club you get one other book club to participate, now they're the ones buying, right? So now you have a purchasing book club who hopefully pays for the book club you just gave away.
In the chat an idea that I love, because I was going to do it for the book launch, but then it was just a little too complicated. But for the audiobook, I think it would be easier. Is Chris had mentioned like writing alternative scenes. So one of the things I wanted to do with the original book launch was I got all these vintage Polaroids, and I was like, I'm going to match them up to people in the book, and then I'm going to write scenes that aren't in the book, like just mini ones, and then send those out with like arcs. And I just couldn't get it together because I freaked out before launch and I felt really unsupported, and I would like had a breakdown. So, but now going into the audiobook, I'm like, it might actually be easier with the audiobook because I could just send out like, I don't have to send a physical copy.
Yes.
Just send like a discount to the audiobook or something, and then they get like their little scene, they get their Polaroid, and then they, the idea was that they would share them on social media with a hashtag. But I'm also doing a launch party. I have to call the venue, but we have a bar here called Trailer Park Bar. So I'm going to do a launch party there for the audiobook. And I'm thinking about like, just even a little thing like, if you, show proof that you bought the audiobook and you get a free PBR, because that's their specialty at the bar, at this place or something like that.
But you can even like the envelope that everything comes in could look like your book cover.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Like you could package it like it looks like a book.
I have to write all this down because I in my head I'm like, I'll remember all this, and then I'm gonna.
I love the idea of a CD playlist. Like that's super cute. Yeah. You can, but I think like seeding it. Like I mean, obviously I'm here in Harrisburg, but I could do a book club here with a bunch of people in my neighborhood and do it part. But like I know like Tina's in Detroit, but you've got people that you know everywhere. So who can you tap into to do this for you and share? Like I mean, I have over 3,000 connections on LinkedIn. Like if I share it, it's going to get out there, right? So there's things that your friends can do for you if you help us, if you give us the tools to do it for you. So, I mean, every time you've shared something, I try to share it or I try to give a call out to you. But if you give me something creative and packaged, it's even more powerful. So
I love that.
Use your allies to seed it for sure. And then I can even, if I do the book club, then I can go into those book club places and say, look at what we did. I have the pictures. It's very authentic. I have the thing. Like if you're interested, buy this kit, whatever, like I would prefer you to get the money than the publisher. So however you can get as much money as possible after your whole story, I'm like, that's just crap. So how do you package it in a different way so that you make more on it? So I mean, like I'm thinking Sticker Mule does like custom envelopes. So like that might be like bubble envelopes is what I'm just thinking. Like if you can somehow do that, put that in there.
Yeah, I have like these cool boxes made for the arcs, and then inside, like the people who did like I sent out special gifts to everyone who did something special for the book launch. So like all the people that reviewed it and people who helped make connections. So they got a copy of the book. They got they did get a Polaroid, they got like stickers and fake tattoos, and then they got a thank you card from me.
Ooh.
And then I got a box specially made that had the cover of the book on it. So, and that, you know, I invested in doing that because I really wanted, these people just went above and beyond for me. So but I love the idea of even like a vellum. I have it all imagined. I can totally imagine. I don't want to, Beverly, you've already given us an extra hour. Your family's probably like, what happened to her?
This is the kind of stuff I love.
Like,
this is what brings me joy, is the strategy and the ideas and doing something different and thinking differently. Like, this is why I do marketing. So my husband will tell you that I have no problem. It's just like with writing, like you have no problem working the minute oil when it's something you really believe in, right? So I'm very careful of your time as well. Like, obviously it's been 2 hours, so I don't know how you want, I have this, lovely slide here with my contact information. So if you want to get a hold of me, this is how you get a hold of me. I'm on social everywhere as Beverly Cornell. My business is on social as well. But certainly if you want to connect or anything, I'm here. You know, even if you want to bounce an idea, you know, I'm always game. That's kind of my fun thing. We obviously do this for a living. So if you hired us to do this, we would do a complete like brand package for you, like from start to finish. Our kind of process, just so you know, is we do like a 15-minute like free fit call where we simply just kind of talk about your goals and if it makes sense for us to work together. And if we can't do it, we'll tell you, like, we can't do it. I don't want to do something where I don't think we're going to succeed. And we are kind of particular about who we work with. Like, we want people who are going to do something, that are going to be active, that are, you know, like there is a personality that we like to work with. And then we have a thing called Brand Spark. And that is like a 90-minute call where I pretty much just get in your head is what I do. And then from there, we have a really strategic kind of roadmap that we talk about that you should do for your next steps. And from that, you can do it yourself, or we could help you do it. So it's really up to you and how involved, or maybe you want to do one aspect and you want us to do the other 3 aspects, or whatever that looks like for you. But it's your roadmap. We don't have any proprietary over it. You can take it and run with it. It's yours. So normally we charge $9.99 for that, but I would offer you guys for half price because you're Carrie's friend. So it would be $4.99 if you wanted to do something like that, just to develop a very specific customized roadmap for you. It's more specific because we would actually get in your head, not a generic group of heads on the list. So, but yeah, I mean, like, I would love to explore something with you. But even if you just have like a quick idea and you're like, hey, Beverly, I'm thinking this. What do you think? I'm very open to helping you since you're Carrie's friends.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been fascinating, and I look forward to getting all the materials for the presentation.
Did you get it? Oh, I didn't. I will download the presentation and I will send it to you. It doesn't have all the examples, but you know, my notes, but you'll have like an overview of it. I'll send it to Carrie. And Carrie, can you send that out? Okay.
Yeah, we could put it in a Google folder that we all share, and then just let us know it's there.
Perfect.
That might be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Beverly.
Yes,
This was
Thank you.
Thank you for giving their time. Well,
Yeah. And thank you, Carrie, for setting this up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad
it's
it's helpful.
great.
I will email everybody probably tomorrow because it's late and I haven't even